Monday Night Raw just witnessed one of the most vicious and unrelenting beatdowns in recent wrestling history when Bron Breakker finally got his hands on Austin Theory after the shocking reveal that Theory was the masked attacker who had been terrorizing him for weeks. The explosion of violence that erupted in that ring was unlike anything we've seen from Breakker before, and Theory paid the ultimate price for his weeks of cowardly attacks and manipulation. What unfolded was raw aggression unleashed without restraint, and if you want to know every single detail of how this confrontation reached its breaking point, then you're in the right place, because we're breaking down the entire sequence of events that led to Theory getting absolutely demolished. Make sure you subscribe, because we're bringing you the hottest wrestling content and you don't want to miss a single moment of the action we cover every single week. The story began several weeks ago when Bron Breakker started experiencing random ambushes that came out of nowhere and left him lying in various locations around the arena. The first attack happened in the parking garage when Breakker was heading to his vehicle after a successful match. Security cameras captured a masked individual rushing from behind a pillar and striking Breakker with a steel pipe across the back. Breakker went down hard, and before he could recover, the attacker disappeared into the shadows. Medical staff rushed to check on him, but Breakker refused treatment and immediately started demanding answers about who was responsible. The following week, another attack occurred, this time backstage near the catering area. Breakker was talking with some crew members when the masked figure appeared again, this time throwing him through a table and escaping before anyone could respond. Week after week the attacks continued, and each one became more brazen and more calculated. The masked attacker seemed to know Breakker's schedule and movements better than anyone should have known them. They struck during interviews, during warm UPS, and even once during a match when Breakker was distracted by the referee. The attacks were never long enough for security to arrive in time, and the attacker always had an escape route planned perfectly. Breakker became increasingly frustrated and paranoid as he couldn't trust anyone around him. He started arriving at the arena earlier and leaving later, hoping to catch the attacker off guard, but nothing worked. The mystery person always seemed to be one step ahead. The WWE Universe became obsessed with figuring out the identity of the masked attacker. Online forums exploded with theories ranging from former rivals seeking revenge to completely unexpected names from other brands. Some fans believed it might be someone Breakker had wronged during his time in NXT, while others thought it could be a main roster star looking to make a statement. Breakker himself cut several intense promos demanding that the coward show their face and fight him like a real competitor instead of hiding behind a mask. His anger was genuine, and you could see the toll the situation was taking on him mentally. He snapped at interviewers, he became more aggressive with opponents in the ring, and he isolated himself from everyone in the locker room. The breaking point came on this particular episode of Monday Night Raw when Breakker stormed to the ring during the opening segment. He grabbed a microphone and issued an ultimatum to the mystery attacker. He said he was done waiting and done playing these games. He challenged the masked person to come out right then and there and settle things once and for all. Breakker paced the ring like a wild animal ready to attack anything that moved. The crowd was electric with anticipation because everyone knew this had to be the moment when everything would be revealed. The arena lights dimmed slightly and footsteps echoed through the sound system. A figure emerged at the top of the entrance ramp wearing the same black mask that had become so familiar over the past weeks. The masked person stood at the top of the ramp for several seconds, just staring down at Breakker in the ring. Breakker was practically shaking with rage as he motioned for the person to come down and face him. The walk down the ramp felt like it took forever as the masked attacker moved slowly and deliberately, soaking in the moment and building the suspense. When the figure finally reached the ring and climbed through the ropes, Breakker immediately got in their face, demanding they remove the mask. The two stood nose to nose for what felt like an eternity. Then the masked person reached up and slowly pulled the mask off their head. The crowd erupted in shock and confusion when Austin Theory's face was revealed underneath. Theory stood there with a satisfied smirk on his face, clearly proud of himself for pulling off weeks of deception. He looked Breakker directly in the eyes and started laughing at the expression of shock and betrayal on Breakker's face. Theory grabbed a microphone from ringside and began to explain himself. He said that everyone in WWE had been obsessed with Bron Breakker since he arrived, treating him like the next big thing, while Theory himself was pushed aside and forgotten despite his accomplishments. Theory mentioned how he had been a champion and had main event potential, but management and fans alike only cared about Breakker. He said the attacks were designed to expose Breakker as weak and to prove that Theory was smarter and more cunning than anyone gave him credit for. Theory continued talking about how easy it had been to attack Breakker week after week without getting caught. He bragged about how he studied Breakker's patterns and routines. He revealed that he had been planning this for months, waiting for the perfect time to execute his plan. Theory said that by the time he was done, everyone would forget about Bron Breakker and recognize Austin Theory as the real future of WWE. His voice was dripping with arrogance and contempt as he listed all the ways he had humiliated Breakker over the past weeks. He even pulled out his phone and started taking a selfie with Breakker in the background like this was all just a joke to him. That selfie was the final straw. Breakker's face went from shock to pure unfiltered rage in an instant. Before Theory could even lower his phone, Breakker lunged forward and grabbed him by the throat. Theory dropped the phone and his microphone as panic flashed across his face. He tried to talk his way out of the situation, but Breakker wasn't hearing any of it. Breakker lifted Theory up and slammed him down with a thunderous power slam that shook the entire ring. The crowd exploded with cheers as Breakker immediately pulled Theory back up and threw him into the corner with so much force that Theory's body bounced off the turnbuckles. Breakker charged into the corner and crushed Theory with a huge splash that left Theory gasping for air. He grabbed Theory by the head and dragged him to the center of the ring before delivering a massive overhead belly-to-belly suplex that sent Theory flying across the ring. Theory tried to roll out of the ring to escape, but Breaker caught his leg and pulled him back in. The look in Breaker's eyes was terrifying as he methodically punished Theory for every attack and every humiliation he had endured. He lifted Theory up and delivered another suplex, this time holding him in the air for several seconds before slamming him down with devastating impact. Theory managed to rake Breaker's eyes and create a brief opening to escape. He rolled out of the ring and tried to run up the ramp, but Breaker was right behind him. Breaker caught Theory halfway up the ramp and tackled him to the steel floor. The two tumbled down the ramp with Breaker landing on top and immediately raining down punches on Theory's face. Security tried to intervene, but Breaker shoved them away without even looking at them. He picked Theory up and carried him back toward the ring, throwing him into the barricade on the way. The barricade dented from the impact and Theory crumpled to the floor. Breaker wasn't done punishing Theory outside the ring. He picked Theory up and launched him into the ring steps with such force that the steps separated from their base. Theory was barely conscious at this point, but Breaker continued his assault. He cleared off the announce table and grabbed Theory, preparing to put him through it. Theory desperately tried to fight back with weak punches that did nothing to stop Breaker. Breaker lifted Theory up for a powerbomb, but Theory managed to slip off his shoulders and stumble away toward the timekeeper's area. Breaker followed him there and the two fought near the bell and chairs, with Breaker dominating every exchange. Eventually Breaker threw Theory back into the ring and followed him in for what would be the final act of destruction. Theory was struggling to even stand as he used the ropes to pull himself up. His face was bruised and his body was battered from the extended beating he had received. Breaker positioned himself in the opposite corner and everyone in the arena knew what was coming next. He crouched down, getting ready to deliver his devastating spear. Theory turned around just in time to see Breaker charging at him with incredible speed. The spear connected with brutal precision and Theory was nearly folded in half from the impact. His body went limp immediately and he collapsed to the mat. But Breaker wasn't satisfied with just the spear. He pulled Theory up one more time and positioned him for his finishing move. With the last bit of strength Theory had, he tried to resist, but it was useless. Breaker executed his finisher with maximum force, driving Theory into the mat so hard that the ring seemed to shake. Theory lay completely motionless in the center of the ring as medical staff rushed down to check on him. Breaker stood over Theory's broken body, breathing heavily and staring down at the man who had made his life miserable for weeks. The referee tried to get Breaker to leave the ring, but Breaker took his time, soaking in the moment and making sure everyone understood that this is what happens to people who cross him. The medical team called for a stretcher as Theory showed no signs of movement. They carefully placed a neck brace on him and lifted him onto the stretcher while the crowd gave mixed reactions, some cheering for Breaker's dominance and others concerned about Theory's condition. As Theory was being wheeled up the ramp, Breaker grabbed a microphone and delivered a message to the entire locker room. He said that anyone who thinks about playing games with him or trying to attack him from behind will end up in the same condition as Austin Theory. His voice was cold and serious, leaving no doubt that he meant every word. The intensity radiating from Breaker was unlike anything we'd seen from him before. This wasn't just a wrestler cutting a promo, this was a warning from someone who had been pushed too far and was now showing exactly what he was capable of when unleashed. The fallout from this confrontation spread throughout the WWE immediately. Backstage interviews with other superstars showed genuine concern about how far Breaker had taken things. Some wrestlers praised him for standing up for himself, while others questioned whether he had gone too far. Theory was reportedly taken to a medical facility for evaluation, though his exact condition wasn't disclosed during the broadcast. Social media platforms were flooded with clips of the spear and the beating, with fans debating whether this was justified retribution or excessive violence. The consensus seemed to be that Theory had it coming after weeks of cowardly attacks, but the severity of the beating was shocking even to longtime wrestling fans. This entire saga transformed both superstars in significant ways. Breaker went from being a dominant athlete to showing a vicious side that fans hadn't fully seen before. He proved that beneath the athletic prowess was someone who could be absolutely ruthless when pushed to his limit. Theory's master plan backfired spectacularly, as his attempt to humiliate and overshadow Breaker resulted in him getting destroyed in front of the world. The reveal was supposed to be his moment of triumph, but instead became the worst night of his career. The confrontation will be talked about for a long time as one of those rare moments where the payoff exceeded expectations and delivered exactly what fans wanted to see. If you want to keep up with all the latest developments in wrestling and never miss moments like this, then hit that subscribe button right now, because we're here bringing you all the action and all the drama that makes this industry so compelling.